Over the past decade, people all across the United States have received strange and bizarre letters from a man only known as Matthew Thornton. In 2014, a mysterious letter would be sent to a museum in Pennsylvania. Inside was a paper scattered with religious text, pictures of George Washington, animals, and the mentions of a past military operation. Now, all of this by itself is very unusual. However, it gets much weirder when you realize that this letter is only one of thousands that this Matthew Thornton sends every single year. Letters have been received from this mysterious person all over the country. Utah, California, Texas, Florida, I'm sure you get the point. Each letter is definitely written and sent by the same exact person, considering the labels are always the same, including his name, Matthew Thornton, with Western United States and 120 degrees west. And the letters are always sent from Sacramento, California. 6 years ago, a Reddit post was made on r/RBI showcasing one of Matthew's letters. Inside was a page of the lyrics to a Phil Collins song, Another Day in Paradise. Underneath was a picture of a cat with a handwritten message. Over 240 million views. See the video on YouTube. On the back of the paper is a hand-drawn picture of what appears to be the state of California, with the words, "Hey Tubby, Paradise, 30,000 new homeless, Jackson." Several Reddit users, including the original poster, believed that he could be referencing or even involved in the 2018 California wildfires that affected both areas only months prior to these letters being sent. Others speculated that it was a treasure map or maybe an ARG. Some believed that this was a conspiracy theorist or a schizophrenic person, though this was all before people began to realize that this letter was only one of thousands being sent, and that this wasn't just some one-off appearance. Posts were made across tons of different subreddits, asking about these letters, and soon a subreddit called r/Matthew Thornton was created, where people could discuss, ask questions, or just straight up post their own unique letters. In the middle of last year, places in Utah began receiving letters from Matthew discussing nuclear war and military weaponry. Yes, you can convert into energy pellets and it's CO2 free. Whee! The black and white photos of animals still show up here and there, which is still just odd. On another paper sent in that same letter, he writes about solar winds and scientific processes. It's all sort of cryptic and jumbled together. I will say, some of these drawings are pretty impressive. They look hand-drawn, and a lot of work was probably put into this. In the rest of his letters, the stuff he likes to talk about are somewhat consistent. It's usually to do with governments, politics, geography, history, war, space, and sometimes more scientific things. While the thought of Matthew Thornton just being a conspiracy theorist did come to my mind, I haven't seen him write about any of the more common conspiracies. You know, like Pizza Earth or Goblin Gnomes. Now, while looking into this whole mystery, I, of course, looked up the name Matthew Thornton. Turns out that was the name of an OG American. He was a founding father who signed the Declaration of Independence. So unless our mysterious man who has been sending these letters coincidentally has the same name, or is a literal time traveler, I think it's safe to say Matthew Thornton is just a pseudonym, a fake name used by this person when they mail out these letters. As time went on, r/Matthew Thornton continued to post new letters, until one day in 2020 when an important and revealing post was made by Bobo21713. Hello Reddit, I had no idea this subreddit existed until today, but hopefully I can shine some light on the mystery. This is definitely the work of my uncle. He has some stuff going on for sure, including the use of the name Matthew as one of his identities. He's my father's brother, and while the letters are definitely odd, he's completely harmless and just wants to share his theories with other people. He lives in California, although I have no idea where. He's definitely an enigma though. Once Bobo made this post, people began asking more questions in the comments, and she provided answers. She herself didn't really understand most of the meaning behind his words and theories, but says that Matthew was pretty coherent when speaking. It was just the connections he made in his ideas that really never made sense or added up. Luckily, a few months before all of this, an account on Reddit was created, Minimum Teaching 5816. Who would turn out to be the real Matthew Thornton. Well, not the real one, because the real one passed away like 300 years ago, but you know what I mean. The real letter sender. Their first comment under a now deleted post stated, "I am Matthew Thornton. Must know that there is only one of me, like a voice in the wilderness. Look closely at the drawings because they convey truth. Please text me your questions and be specific. I will use your voicemail using 2-minute answers. Sometimes I use more than one voicemail to answer you." Under a post referencing the one made by Bobo, which we just talked about, Matthew or Minimum Teaching responded to someone. "Is my niece, not nephew, and if your middle name is Thornton, shall I call you Joe Thornton Thornton? And you should know we have a James Thornton in our family tree. You must be a distant cousin." On some of his posts, he says that if you send him your address, he'll send you his letters. I was so tempted to do this, but after post-sleep clarity, I realized that sending my address to a stranger on the internet is probably not the best idea. Minimum Teaching 5816 hasn't posted or made any comments in over a year, which I believe was just due to him losing his account password or something like that, because a new account who posts very similar to him popped up, and claims to be Matthew Thornton. He is still active here on this account, posting things just this week. So why does Matthew Thornton do all of this? What's the point of sending letters across the country for well over a decade? To get more answers, I reached out to Bobo, Matthew's niece. When asked about the meaning behind the letters, she stated, "Honestly, his rants probably make as much sense to you as they do to me, although I know a lot of it stems from a distrust in the government, both in America and generally worldwide. He believes they're keeping huge secrets from the public about the true extent of extraterrestrial contact, and how humanity has been so successful." She goes on to explain that Matthew isn't officially diagnosed with schizophrenia, though both her and others around him believe that he does have some level of schizophrenia. Bobo also mentions that he displays symptoms of having multiple personalities, like referring to himself as Matthew around his own family. Again, his real name is not Matthew Thornton. Bobo told me that Matthew picked up the name many years back after a family member had written a paper on presumably Matthew Thornton, to which he started using to send his letters. Unfortunately, Matthew has always rejected the idea of seeing a psychiatrist. He doesn't believe anything is wrong, so it's hard for them to convince him otherwise. So just to summarize, the man behind these letters picked up and began using the name Matthew Thornton around the year 2013 to 2014. He then started sending these strange and bizarre letters to people all over the United States to spread his ideas and messages with the world. He's trying to expose things he believes are being covered up or just being lied about. And from what I've read from his Reddit posts, I think he sends out copies of a specific letter to people in one state all around the same time. So for example, he'll send out letters to Ohio, and within about a week, people all around only Ohio will receive them. Then in a few weeks or maybe months, he'll pick a new state and send a new type of letter. It's not some cryptic treasure hunt or even an ARG. It's just a man with most likely undiagnosed schizophrenia spreading his ideas through complex letters that he wants others to read. Now, I'm sure I don't have to say this, but if you end up looking into this and find Matthew's real name or other super personal information, please don't share it. His family doesn't want his actual identity public, so please respect their wishes. While researching for this video, I learned that it's actually not completely unheard of for people with schizophrenia to send letters to random people across the world. Of course, it's not like it's common, nor does it usually happen on such a wide scale, but nonetheless, I did find it interesting. I'm sure if you've seen the video I made on Tutz Honeychurch, you probably noticed some similarities of the pretty incoherent ramblings that both Matthew and Tutz displayed in their messaging. Before the video ends, I do want to give a small update on Tutz. About a week or two after I posted that video, I weirdly received an email from her. On my YouTube email, which just a few days prior I had given to someone in the comments of that video, meaning she most likely saw the video I had posted about her and scrolled through the comments to find my email. The email was sent in a large group with hundreds of government officials. Then there's just me in the list, which I found pretty funny. The email contents were similar to what she had sent in the past, stuff that anyone other than Tutz can't really make sense of. Another thing happened that I found pretty strange. About a month ago, a Reddit account was created under the name Tutz Honeychurch. As I'm editing this, the account has been deleted, right after I messaged them, though at the very least, the posts are still there. This account replied to one single post about Mike Miskey 9 times. They also replied to a couple other posts about the guy as well. My first instinct was to believe that this was fake and made by someone who watched my video and wanted to pretend to be Tutz for attention. While that could be true, I don't know. To me, the comments seem very consistent with what the real Tutz would type out, and it was all done in the span of 3 days. If it was a Tutz imposter, they probably just copy and pasted some text from her emails to make it all seem legit. Nonetheless, it was weird enough for me to want to mention it. There's also been a new account on TikTok with the same name, who just posts fashion show clips. And just last night, I was made aware of an account commenting under my Tutz video that looks like her. Though pretty quickly, it was apparent that it's just a troll and not the real Tutz Honeychurch. It looks nothing like her actual writing style, and I highly doubt a 45-ish-year-old woman would write like this. As of now, I do think she has schizophrenia. While to my knowledge there hasn't been any documented or blatant proof of that found, I still believe that it's the most probable theory. One last thing before the video ends, I've just started working on my most ambitious video yet. That'll probably take at least a couple months to finish. I don't want to give too much away, but it'll definitely be a pretty big investigation. I'll still be continuing to post as usual, so if you're new here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Or don't, that's cool too, I guess.